Hey everyone, Charles here, and first of all, thank you for stopping by my podcast. If this show inspires you, makes you think, or gives you that courage to jump into action, please help by donating to this show. Click the link in the description and donate. Your donation helps us with production and finding great guests moving forward. Thank you and enjoy.
Amazon is offering sign-on bonuses up to $1,000, plus get up to $20 an hour for select roles. The best part? We're hiring near you. So start now to take home something greater. New, higher wages with a sign-on bonus, a range of real benefits, and career growth opportunities in a top-rated workplace. So earn more and see how great pay and sign-on bonuses can lead to a greater life for you. Go to amazon.com/apply. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey Jump fans, how you doing? I didn't know how to do this intro. I didn't know how to set this up. This story is so unbelievable that I didn't know what words to say. In 2009, the summer, it changed this man's life forever. So, I'm just going to let you listen to the show, and it's all about wow. This story is going to touch you, shock you, and make you really think about your life. My interview with Athony Lue will change your life. Stay tuned.
You know you should be doing something different, right? Hey, I'm talking to you. Do you believe that you have the gift for greatness or have a special talent, but don't have the courage to take that next step? Always wondering how others made it look so easy? Well, welcome to Jump, the show that will bring you special guests just like you and me. How did they get the courage to jump into greatness? Doing what they love and living the good life. So, get ready to jump with your host, Charles Matthews Jr.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another show of Jump. Yes, here's a show podcast where I bring you the interesting of the interesting, the top of the top, and people that you might not know about that have a story that I know will get you going. Because all it is you just need that helping hand to jump into greatness. So I have my guest on the line, and I just can't wait. I'm actually super excited. Let me give you some background before we start. I just met this gentleman like 2 weeks ago. And the vibe that we're going back and forth, he is super cool, super chill. And I just like the vibe that he's pushing out. And I know that his whole being and what he's standing for and what he's doing is going to help somebody out there. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Athony Lue. Give him a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Hey, sir, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
All right, well, before we go on, I got to give a big shout out to Calvin Shaw. He's the one that hooked us up together.
Yep.
Right? So if it wasn't for him, this would not be happening. But yeah, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing very well. Very, very, very well.
All right, so here's the thing. I've been doing some background research on you.
Yep.
And I've been seeing that there's some videos out there. So you're slowly creeping out on the scene right now.
Yeah, you can put it that way.
So tell everybody, what's your story?
All right, well, basically, I guess I'll just start at the beginning. It started about 9 years ago, September 30th, 2009. I was working as an apprentice mechanic at Autoboy Service Center in Pickering. And, it was a regular day on the job, just fixing some cars. Long story short, they asked if I could help bring some cars down the street at lunchtime. And I said, sure, why not? These were scrap cars, inoperable. And I was basically going to be steering these down the road. So as I was steering it down the road, we get to the scrapyard. Again, a whole bunch of stuff happens, but I get pushed up onto the weigh-in scale. They get the weight of the vehicle. It's time for me to exit. I'm looking to the left-hand side of the scale to park the car, jump out and go back to work. The crane operator comes swinging around with the big magnet with the claws attached to it, drops it on the car, crushes me inside. He then proceeds to pick me up to 15 feet in the air, and that's when one of the other workers in the yard jumped out and said, somebody's still inside the car. And at that moment, he panicked and dropped me from 15 feet back down to the ground. And that's kind of when I woke up. It was just like in the movies.
Wait. You can't just drop it like that and say, okay, that's no. So hold on. Let's take it back here. Let's take it back. So, because right now, all of my listeners just went, Okay. All right, so hold on. So I'm picturing it right now. You go up in the machine, just like the movies, right?
Yeah.
And then it's where the thing crushes it together and picks it
up.
No.
So that's everybody's perception of what happened.
Okay.
So this is the big magnet that hangs from the crane.
Yes.
With the claws on it. So it's not actually where they put the car into and it crushes it flat right down.
Okay.
It wasn't that. I wasn't at that point yet.
Okay. Whew.
Yeah, but what was about to happen is the guy said he was about to flip the car onto the roof and rip the tires off with those claws.
Oh, Lord.
Yes.
Okay.
So it was about 20,000 tons of force that came down onto the car.
Okay, so now you're in the car. He drops the car. And then what happened?
I wake up. So the initial impact knocked me out. I was out for probably about 10 seconds.
Yes.
And when he dropped the car, I woke up. My hands were still on the steering wheel.
Okay.
And the roof was about 6 inches away from my head. At that moment, it was kind of just like, thank God, because I knew what had happened and I was alive.
Okay.
So everybody came running to the car and the paramedics showed up. They airlifted me to Sunnybrook. And that's where life really changed.
Okay, so now, before all that, what were you doing before? Because it says here you're a superstar athlete.
Yes. So I was among the top in the nation for the hurdles.
Top in the nation, okay.
Yeah.
So
it's a pretty interesting story. I was a high school athlete. I won an officer for the hurdles. I was looking to go away on a dual scholarship, but I had a little bit too much fun. And, I was an athlete first before a student.
Oh, okay.
So, long story short, I missed out on that opportunity. I ended up working at Auto Boys in the event that, my athletic career did not pan out. I needed to have a plan B.
Right.
And that's when this happened. So
before we go on, what school did you go to?
I was at Pickering High School.
All right, so everybody at Pickering High School just got a big up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, so track athlete, it didn't pan out because back in the days we didn't think of that education was gonna go with hand in hand. We didn't know that back then. Right?
Honestly, you know what I thought about it? It was one of those things where I was such an amazing athlete and I had so much going for me that I really didn't need a plan B. If I had done everything that I needed to at the appropriate times,
right,
none of this would have ever happened to me. And that's what I go when I speak to kids about now, and I say, just do what you need to do at the appropriate time, and you can avoid a lot of the stresses in life later on.
Okay, so now track athlete didn't pan out as much, but there's still hope. So you gotta fall back on something. You go work at the garage.
Nope.
And when you're going to the garage, then this happens. You're at Sunnybrook. Continue.
All right, so Sunnybrook, 1 week in ICU, another 3.5 weeks on their trauma ward there. And again, I didn't really leave my bed. It was just trying to figure out, my body at that point. So then somebody comes to me and says, you're going to go to rehab. And I was like, all right, whatever. It can't be too much different than the hospital. But it was. Everybody was in wheelchairs. You're sharing rooms. It was my house, essentially, right? Everything that was in my bedroom got moved to rehab because I spent 3 months there. You were hearing, seeing, and smelling things that you had no business hearing or seeing or smelling from other people, right?
Right.
So it was extremely humbling. Learning to use a wheelchair, learning to eat again, sleep, because I was a stomach sleeper. Okay. And with 2 rods and 8 screws in my back after the surgery, it was extremely uncomfortable to lie on my stomach. So it took me about a year and a bit just to get back to lying on my stomach and sleeping comfortably. So it was basically just learning to view life through a different lens and adapting.
So hold on, let's let everybody know this and be clear, because you dropped the word wheelchair, you dropped the word screws in your back. So what was the diagnosis?
Paralyzed waist down. So I broke my back right around my belly button, and they classify me as a complete injury. So they say no sensation or feeling or anything waist down.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So then now you're going into rehab to learn how to do it all over again.
Correct. I was a baby. Literally. Getting help to sit up, to eat, all that stuff, right? until I was able to about a month and a half in, I started getting out of bed on my own into the wheelchair, transferring into the wheelchair and wheeling myself around the facility, physiotherapy, occupational therapy, just everything that you need to know in order to get back to a normal or somewhat normal life in society, right?
Right. So then the question is, and everybody's going to be like, I can see it right now. They're all listening and they're like, ask him. So I'm going to ask you.
No.
Your mindset.
Oh, mindset. I thought you were going to say lawsuit.
No. See, that was my original question when you said the guy picked you up, man. I was thinking, boy, if Johnny Cochran was around, trust me. No,
Yes.
that I won't even get into because that's just a wow factor.
Yep.
But for me, it's more beneficial than even the lawsuit in my mind is how's your mindset after this?
It was rough at the beginning, but I am extremely fortunate. I'm blessed. I grew up in the church, and the way that my parents raised me, my mother just instilling every day, you can do anything with God. It doesn't matter what it is.
Okay.
So that was like the first thing. But the second thing was the support network. When I saw how many people showed up at the hospital within hours of my injury, as I was wheeling into surgery, people were there. Like, I cannot explain to you the support that I've had from the very get-go. Just a couple days ago, I was able to meet the paramedics that actually picked me up. So the Durham paramedics in the ambulance, the chopper guy that picked me up and flew me to Sunnybrook, and just being able to hear everything and the way that they're supporting my journey, my story now too, it's honestly amazing. And it makes everything that much easier when everybody's there to help you get through whatever is put in your path. So
you had that strong foundation, and that's what kind of helped you get to this next level.
Correct.
Okay. So now, most people would say, I titled this podcast for you as Never Stay Down, because I look at you. And just to let the listeners know, you can watch a couple of his videos. You've been on breakfast television, right? You've been on some other talk shows talking about your story. Why is it that you keep going now? You never stay down?
I think it's always just kind of been me. I've always had that go-getter attitude. I don't think anybody's ever really asked me that question before. You might have stumped me for a second. It's especially after the injury, you realize just how precious life is.
Okay.
And I realized, especially again, when I lost the scholarship and everything that I worked so hard for going through high school, I realized that I had screwed up, and I went down the wrong path for a little while. But again, just being who I was, I said, don't give up on yourself. There is so much left in life to do and to live and to see. So, it's just been one of those things. And surrounding yourself with good people too, right? That's something that I cannot stress enough. My mom would always say, she says, show me your friends and I'll show you who you are. And I was like, no, blah, blah, blah. And sure enough, right? As you grow up and you mature and you see the way things are and the way people act, it all falls into place. And I know now that I was destined for greatness. Everything happens for a reason, and I'm not at all upset about what happened because I know God has a plan for my life, and I cannot wait to see where I'm going to end up in the next even year, because that's how my life is going right now. It's so amazing.
Wow. But then, see, just to hear you talk like that is why I said I want to, because I'll be honest with you, there's people out there in your same situation. They say, oh yeah, I'm okay. But I can actually hear it in your voice. I can actually see it, like when you're, on stage or doing your interviews. This is a real thing. Like, you actually embody this whole feeling of betterment.
Honestly, you have no idea. It's a daily, what half a day? God, I've never heard anyone say that yet. It's a daily struggle, but and that's why I say half day, because sometimes the morning half of the day is extremely difficult and the second half will get a little bit easier, but it's one of those things where you just got to keep on going, right? Hurdles were my specialty in high school, and that's just the way I'm viewing life. It's one more hurdle that I'm just going to jump over and run right through kind of thing. So
I like how you put that together. I like that one. That was a good one.
It's the truth, man. It's the truth.
Yeah, I like how you put that together, because you look at your situation, and most people be like, they didn't want to even talk about, the hurdles or talk about anything. You look at what you've done and you're using it as a betterment for yourself, and you're like, yo, if it's not those hurdles I had to conquer to be famous or to help other people, these are the hurdles I got to do. So this is what I got to do.
That's it, right?
So if you don't mind asking, how old are you right now?
I'm 30 years old.
Okay, and this happened when?
When I was 21. So 9 years at the end of this month. September 30th will be 9 years.
Right, but then the question I have is, you're just coming out now. Like, you're doing what you need to do now. Why did it take so long? Why do you think this is the time for you?
It's interesting. Just because of a lot of the legal stuff, I haven't been able to say anything. And I've been pretty shy too. I'm not really one to ask for anything or put myself out there like that. But with what I've had to go through and what I'm still going through right now that I can't even really talk about in terms of like the legal stuff,
right?
It's ridiculous. The way the system is set up, it will not allow you to get ahead, to better yourself. And this is why I'm starting to speak up now, because if I'm going through this, being the person that I am, with the attitude and the support that I have behind me, right, and there's days where I'm still sitting in the couch kind of like, what the hell am I going to do? Yes. What's it like for somebody else that doesn't have a voice, doesn't have the support, doesn't have a family, doesn't have God? Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And so I can't, it's one of those things where I need to get out and do more. This is my platform now, and like I said, this happened for a reason. I have to use my voice and my position to do whatever I can.
So then, as I'm reading your profile, you're not just giving up on the Olympic dream. Tell everybody a little bit about that.
Okay. So there was a huge void in my life, and that's where I've kind of been for those past couple of years, where my focus has been solely on sports, and I haven't really been doing too much of anything else. And now I'm like, okay, you need to get back into the community. But as I mentioned, there was that void. I started playing wheelchair basketball, and the wheelchair was like a new lease on life for me. So I said, I'm going to try everything. I'm not going to limit myself. So I tried basketball. I tried skiing, the hand cycle, which is a bicycle, and everything pretty well stopped there. I tried golf, but that's super expensive. And, golf is one of those sports that you can practice your whole life and still suck at it. So I never got to compete as an able-bodied cyclist. I loved riding my bike everywhere. It went hand in hand with my running and track. So when my buddy lent me his hand cycle, I decided to jump on that. It's a Paralympic event. And for the past 3.5 years, I've been super focused and competitive on the bike. I've been riding for about 5, but that's kind of where I've been, just trying to get up to speed, the fundraising, the strengthening that it takes to, pull your body weight on a bike up a mountain for 42 kilometers for over 3.5 hours. It's not an easy road, but it's a road that I definitely do love. So it's absolutely amazing. Life is good.
So now you're into super training, right?
Super training, yep.
Yeah, and then like you said, there's a sponsor. So before we move on, please tell everybody your website.
My website is www.anthonylue.com, and Lue is spelled Lue.
All right, so that's AnthonyLue.com, and that's Lue. And the reason I'm asking everybody to make sure you go take a look at his page, there is a sponsor where you can sponsor him, okay?
Yes, for sure.
And you want to get him to this next level. Like you said, we can all help him get over the next hurdle, and he's dedicated. He's a man that is dedicated, and he's going to represent us. And I think it's in 2020, right?
Correct.
That's right.
In Tokyo.
In Tokyo. So we want to make sure that we see you up there doing your thing.
Introducing Promo Caribbean, the Caribbean's #1 mobile app. The only app you'll need to stay current on local and regional news, jobs, business listings, parties, attractions, travel, and much more. Whether you're in the Caribbean, Canada, the US, the UK, or anywhere in the world, this revolutionary app allows you to connect, engage, and support your Caribbean community through your mobile device. Reach the whole Caribbean community from the palm of your hands. Download the Promo Caribbean app now for free at the App Store and Google Play.
When you go to speak to young teens, right? What is the real message you're telling them?
Don't give up on life, no matter what happens to you, because, you know, we all have our challenges and our difficulties or differences in life, and people will say to me, I don't know how you did what you did. And what I say to them is, you never know what you can do until you're put in a position, right? That's one thing. But the other thing is just like I said, you're going to go through all sorts of stuff. Kids will go through divorces. Bullying is huge now in high school, right?
Yes,
Social media is ridiculous. So it's one thing is just instilling that confidence in people and kids and teens of today, just to let them know that they're special. Because one, they're probably not hearing that at home. But two, when they're seeing all these people on social media that have these productions behind them, you know, they don't see all that stuff. They just see all the followers and the likes, and they're like, oh, well, I'm not special or I'm not important. And it's just one of those messages like, you know, you are important, you are special, you have the ability to do amazing things. You just have to put your mind to it, right?
Right.
And I have several different messages to tell young kids and the youth of tomorrow. It's just being able to get in front of them and sit down. And honestly, I try not to vomit all over everybody, because it's one of those things where I want to just tell you everything, tell you all about my whole situation and the injustice that people are going through on a day-to-day basis. I tell my mom, I'm like, listen, the first person through the door always gets shot, right? And it's, I think I'll be one of those people, because it's not fair. It is not fair what people on ODSP, Ontario Works, you know, any sort of social assistance are going through, because even if you want to get ahead, they don't give you the opportunity to. Right? So man, I just really appreciate the fact that you recognize that I am trying to do something here, and you gave me the platform and the opportunity to share my story and to hopefully inspire some people that are going through whatever it is that they're going through to just not give up and persevere.
Well, no, at the end of the day, it's like you inspire us, because here's the thing. People understand that why we do what we do. Okay, people are like, well, you know, why do you do this podcast? Why do you spend all this money to edit and do all this stuff and get these guests on there? Because even if it helps one person,
that's it.
That one person that comes to you afterwards that listened to the podcast, that maybe he got bullied, maybe he did something, and he listened to this interview and say, hey, if he can do it, I can do it. So here's the question. You've been speaking now. How long have you been speaking now for?
About 8 years now.
Okay. So tell us that you must get that one person or that one feedback or email or something that you spoke to them or saw them and they kind of touched you. Can you give us a little story about that one?
There was two that came to mind, but there is one for sure that I can tell you about.
Okay.
I'll tell you about both. The first one was I spoke at a school. Kids will come up to me after and they'll say, you know, you inspired me, blah, 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 whatever the case is. Then I get an email or a Facebook message later on that night from one of the kids that said, you know, there was a lot of people around you. I didn't want to come up and bug you, whatever the case is, but I really want to thank you for your message, because I didn't think that I was going to be living much longer.
Wow.
And, you know, as I tell you that, I get goosebumps. And it was one of those things where I'm not a counselor or anything like that. And it's just kind of like, I spoke to her for a little while and, you know, try to help her as much as I could and direct her to people that could actually help her. And I'm not exactly sure what had happened.
Right.
But the fact that she reached out, it was kind of like you said, that one person. Going forward from that one, there was a young kid. His name is Austin Riley. He's autistic. Okay. And again, another presentation at a school. He came up to me after. He said, hi, my name's Austin. I loved your presentation. I'm a race car driver. And I was kind of like, what? What do you mean? I'm like, you're in high school and I love cars. Like, I love cars.
Okay.
So immediately I stopped talking to all the rest of the kids, and he was explaining to me that he's autistic and he drives a go-kart.
Okay.
And because the go-kart goes so fast, his brain is moving at normal speeds when it's going that fast.
Right.
So, long story short, we've developed a relationship over the past couple years. He comes to my events, I go to his events. He's now racing in a Canadian series called the Nissan Micra Cup Series.
Okay.
And he will be moving up without a doubt. Absolute inspiration, but to see how I've inspired him and again, how he's inspired me to keep on going and the things that he's accomplished going around and just spreading the word about autism and just, raising awareness. We're on the same kind of path. It's been one of those things where he gave back to me, and 2 weeks ago I was at Mossport in a go-kart racing around the track for the first time in my life. And it was one of the things that, again, being in a wheelchair, I didn't think that I was going to be able to do, but where there's a will, there's a way, right?
Yes,
Never ever give up on your goals or your dreams, your aspirations, because if you put it out there, somebody will reach out to you and make it happen.
Well, see, I'm going to kind of shift a little bit on this one. Only because I have you here, and only because, you're the only person can tell us the real deal, right?
All right.
Tell us the thing that you want people to know about people in wheelchair. And what I mean by that is, I had a friend, okay? He had a disability, and every time someone saw him, they overdid it. Do you understand what I mean by that?
Yes.
And I'm like, and he's like, dude, I know I have a disability, but I'm fine. But they always overdo it.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, I get what you're saying now. And then when I was hanging out with him, I could see it.
Yep.
So at one point, I was like, dude, let's just use it. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, if they want to get us some extra chairs and some juice and this and that, right? But he's like, nah, man. But some days it's just like, it's frustrating.
It is.
So
it
I'm
is,
like,
definitely.
I'm like, okay, I got you. You're the wheelchair guy, right?
I'm the wheelchair guy.
Tell us, man. Tell us.
So the first thing is that, we're just like anybody else. You respect, and I have it tattooed on my right bicep. And on the left one is love. Love and respect. You treat everybody the way that you want to be treated, right?
Okay.
If I see an able-bodied person struggling with something and I can help them, I'm going to go over and say, you know what? Do you need a hand? Can I help you with that?
Right.
If you don't see somebody struggling with something, don't just go over and ask, because they probably don't need it. But if somebody's going through a door and you can see them possibly struggling, or there's no automatic button there to open the door, that's when you can offer a hand. And at the end of the day, it's like you go up to somebody and you just ask a question. Because I'll be in the store, the grocery store, looking at coffee. Perfect example. I don't know what coffee I want to buy. Right. And the gentleman next to me thought that I couldn't reach the top one, and he's like, do you need me to get that for you? And I'm like, no, I just can't make up my mind. He's like, all right, let me know if you need anything. I was like, all right, thanks. And it's that simple, right? It's that easy.
Right.
But when you're running back through 2 sets of doors to open the door for me, and I don't even use the automatic door opener, that's the overdoing it that you're talking about, right?
Okay.
And so it's just... It's one of those things. But at the end of the day, it's what I really want people to know is that we are people too. If you give us the opportunity to do things, to get into different venues, to showcase our talents and abilities, to speak and show you our minds, you will be blown away.
Right.
Because people that may not be able... Perfect example, Stephen Hawking, right? He probably couldn't, I don't know too much about his situation and physical impairments and stuff like that. I don't know if he could feed himself or whatnot, but one of the greatest minds the world has ever known. And he was in a wheelchair. He probably couldn't get up 1 flight of stairs. But at the end of the day, the amount of people's lives that he changed was enormous. So I know several people like that. Artists, I know people that are brilliant business people, but they just have these barriers in society that don't allow them to live their life to the fullest potential.
Right. So if you could go back, right, look at the young 20-year-old of yourself. Okay? I don't know if you were kicking the afro back then, but I was. That's a different story.
I had an S curl. I probably shouldn't have said that, but
all right.
Moving along.
All right. What would you tell yourself besides not doing the S curl? What would you tell yourself?
I would have told myself, have a little bit more fun because your life is about to change.
Hold on. I was not expecting that, I was not expecting that answer. You're like, have a little bit more fun because your life is about to change. I thought that you were going to say, study hard, be careful. No, that answer just threw me. What do you mean have a little bit more fun?
You're getting the real Anthony right now.
Okay.
You've had him the whole time, but generally I wouldn't answer like that.
Yeah.
Because people are like, would you go back and change it? And I say, no, I wouldn't. And that's where this answer comes from, because I only really have one true regret, and that's getting on a motorcycle. I would have done that, but I probably would have died anyways. So it's one of those things. I just didn't want to have any regrets going forward.
Okay.
So that's where that answer comes from. I did a lot of silly things while I was up and walking. I lost the scholarship, but at the end of the day, if I didn't go through those experiences, it wouldn't have made me who I am today.
Right.
And I wouldn't be on this podcast. I wouldn't be able to do the things that I'm doing and speak to the people that I do and visit the places that I get to go to. So I wouldn't go back and change it, but I don't know what I would tell. I really wouldn't tell the 20-year-old anything else because I wouldn't change it.
Hey, it's okay if you're driving or too busy to take notes. Charles has your parachute packed with all the info you need to jump into success. Check out the links section for all the tools you need to land safe. Now, let's keep falling with Charles and his special guest.
Here's the last question before I let you go, and I think this is my tagline because I've been asking everybody on the show, and I'm getting such beautiful answers and interesting answers and just weird.
So don't mess it up, is what you're saying.
No pressure. It's just my signature. No, all jokes aside. No, here's the thing. Okay, when you leave this earth, what is your legacy? What do you want your legacy to be left behind? And the only reason I'm asking, because just the other day, I heard someone talking about it, and a light bulb kicked in my head, and I was like, wow, I didn't even think about legacies. I didn't think about what, if I leave the earth, would somebody say, oh yeah, Charles did this and Charles did that, or my son could say, that's my dad because blah, 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 blah. I never thought of that. Did you think about your legacy?
I've thought about it a lot to an extent. I know that, and it's weird the way I think about it. It's always my funeral. It's like I want like 1 million people to be at my funeral, and I think that speaks volumes as to who you were as a person, right?
Right.
And I just want everybody to say that he was an amazing person that made a difference in this world that helped a lot of people. That at the end of the day, that's the person I want to be. I want to be able to be known as someone that helped a lot of people and made life a lot easier. Because, we all know life is extremely difficult at times, and, sometimes people need a break or whatever it might be, but, to be able to lend that helping hand to pull somebody out of a situation, whatever it may be, whether it's financial or stress, whatever it is, to know that you helped somebody you can't pay me for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know if that's a great answer or not, but
that's your answer, and I love it that it's yours, and that's what it is. You make it who you want it to be.
Yes.
So, Anthony, thank you so much for being on my show. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to Jump, and here it is. A man that realized that he can change the world now ever before than he did before. And that's interesting to know that, hey, life just moves on. It doesn't stop. Life keeps going. So definitely follow Anthony's path. You know what I mean? And we're going to root for you. 2020, look out for him. Make sure you go to his website, Athony Lue, that's LUE.com.
Oh,
so Anthony
can I put in one more thing?
Go ahead.
Sorry, I am planning a fundraising gala November 10th at the Jubilee Pavilion in Oshawa. It is going to be absolutely amazing. Live entertainment, silent auction, live auctions, 3-course meal. It's going to be a bomb. So I'd love to have you out.
All right, sounds good. Once again, thank you so much for coming on the show, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. If you liked the show or have a comment, we would love to hear from you. Join our mailing list, and as always, check out our special deals links below. I hope this has inspired you to look at your life and jump. See you next week.
Amazon is offering sign-on bonuses up to $1,000, plus get up to $20 an hour for select roles. The best part? We're hiring near you. So start now to take home something greater. New, higher wages with a sign-on bonus, a range of real benefits, and career growth opportunities in a top-rated workplace. So earn more and see how great pay and sign-on bonuses can lead to a greater life for you. Go to amazon.com/apply. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer. Amazon is offering sign-on bonuses up to $1,000, plus get up to $20 an hour for select roles. The best part? We're hiring near you. So start now to take home something greater. New, higher wages with a sign-on bonus, a range of real benefits, and career growth opportunities in a top-rated workplace. So earn more and see how great pay and sign-on bonuses can lead to a greater life for you. Go to amazon.com/apply. Amazon is an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, hope you had a great time listening to the show. If you think I did a great job, please buy me a coffee. I still got a lot of work to do. We would love to hear from you, your feedback, so please click the link and leave us a review. You can help us grow by following us on all social media platforms and sharing this link. Once again, it's time for you to jump. Success is waiting.